Welcome to Woke Connect Podcast. This podcast is about connections within the awakened community. In this podcast, I'll be talking about relationships, family, work, and connections within the awakened community and tribe. Welcome. Today I'll be talking about where can I go to meet woke people. So this is a question that I have personally, and I'm going to explore this with you. Where can you go to meet woke people? Alright, so as you know, as I shared with you, I'm pretty new to my own awakening journey. But, I'm in it enough to want to meet other woke people. And so, I'm sure this is an experience that other people probably have out here in wanting to meet other woke people. So it's interesting because as I have entered my awakening experience, I think I've met, a few woke people. It's one of those unexplained experiences where people come into your life and you don't really have a rhyme or reason of how people come along, but they show up. And some awakened people will call that synchronicity, where you're not seeing, repeated numbers, you're seeing people show up in your life, and there's no explanation to it. And awakened people would, say that it's a universal thing. It's something that happens as your frequency gets to certain places, and you're vibrating at a certain level. Certain people come into your life, and so that requires a lot of patience, and I do want to explore like organic, 3D ways to meet other woke people. If you're taking it that way, if you're, waiting for the universe to let people show up, then that's great and wonderful. However, like I said, I want to kind of, I want to be actively participating in meeting woke people. So I've had these people come into my life, and it's been great. I've met some awesome people. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to it. They just appear, and connections are made. And like I said, it's unexplainable. But coming out of the three-dimensional, way of doing things, where people are dating and meeting people, like, in those ways, going to the club, going to parties, going to different things like that to meet people. As an awakened person, you no longer kind of participate in those things. And I think those changes happen before you actually get to your point where you would say that you're awakened, where you kind of stop doing things that you used to do like go to the clubs. Like it's nothing wrong with going to the club. um, well, that's debatable. But what I'll say is that, you know, the club is it just depends. It depends. The environment of what's going on. It depends on what's, you know, the people who go in and what the intention is for the club. So, um, but actually, truth be told, I was never really into the club to begin with. I've never even met someone at the club that turned into a relationship. So it's kind of hard to put the club in this mixture for me. The club for me was about getting my dance on. I love to dance. Still love to dance to this day, and that's one thing that I'll do for, you know, as long as I'm able, is dance. And so my teenage years and those club years were all about me getting my dance on. And so I don't know who out there can feel me on that, but yes, the club is a great outlet for dancing. Some people would say that the club was like a meat market, though. You know, people go there, and that's why I said, going back to intentions, people go there with the intention to pick up people. You know, people go there with the intention to, you know, find someone to be physical with. And people go there, and I'm not saying everybody, like I said before, don't take anything I say as if I'm talking about everyone, you know, but this is a truth for some people who go. So it's about hooking up and picking up folks and, you know, that kind of thing. Drinking, getting twisted, getting lit, and you know, it's just about having fun for some people, you know, and it includes all of that. That's a part of the club experience. So as you awake, you know, you don't particularly do the club anymore. You know, you're about just other things, growing your knowledge and trying to level up. And so it's really not in your it's just not something that you do anymore. I know there's some people who do still go out to the club. We have a bunch of woke celebrities that, you know, it's part of their lifestyle is to go out there to the club. And so not knocking it, like it's for whoever it's for. But I knew before I had my awakening that wasn't the place for me to meet anybody. So that's basically not the answer for me as far as the question that I'm posing today. And I think there's probably some people out there who can feel me on that, men and women. You know, you want to meet someone, you know, not only in trying to get to know someone on a romantic level, you know, potentially romantic level, but meet someone who can become friends, or, you know, just have a greater association with. It's just not, the club is not the first thing that comes to mind. So that's kind of a process of elimination situation right here. So the club is not one of those places. I find that for me, as I've gotten into my awakening journey and I've met these people who I've met some really good people. It's been interesting. I'll get back to that and how these people seem to come about. And I think in you know, regular life, when you sleep in the matrix, you'll meet people at work, and in your goings about, in your daily going about, like just going to the grocery store, going to, I don't know, the mall, or going to this place or that place, is where you would meet people. Work still is a possibility. I think a lot of people who get on an awakening journey have um, it becomes something to want to work outside of the matrix. If the job you were doing wasn't pleasant for you, to kind of remove yourself out of that situation. So I think work is still a possibility, though, because as we all know, work is where we spend the majority of our time. So if you have a 9 to 5, yeah, it's still a possibility to meet someone that way. For me, you know, the shackles of the 9 to 5 is something I was trying to get out of, and still attempting to get removed from that lifestyle. So that's another area in which it wouldn't work for particularly me, but for a lot of people it still is a possibility. It's just about trying to talk with people enough to see how they are vibrating, how, what kind of energy they have, if y'all connect in those ways, and if you feel each other. I talked about, trying to come up with questions to kind of flesh out if, that person is on an awakening journey of their own. It's not, in my experience, that people who are awakened walk around like talking about things. It's not something that is put on display. It's really something that you really have to sit down with people and talk. You have to communicate, and then it'll show itself. But it's not something that people walking around bragging about. I'm woke. And so, yeah, work is, especially when it comes to talkative folks like myself. Here, I make sure that I talk to folks that I work around. And so, yeah, you know what topics you can bring up, and what topics you are not, that you're not able to talk with, your coworkers with. You know. And so work is still a possibility. Then there's the consideration of, the going abouts. Going to the grocery store, going to the mall, going here or there. And with the world and the changes that are going on, we don't really have to go out as much as we used to. I was joking with someone a couple weeks ago. It was at a restaurant, and they have now these devices where they just bring it to you. It's like a little computer, and you can pay on it, and it's kind of something new. So you don't it's something like you can do on your computer at home. And I was joking around with this person and saying, like, eventually we're going to be shut-ins, because it's computers everywhere, right? So we just don't go as many places as we used to because of technology. We can do everything just about from home. You can do your shopping from home. You can pay your bills from home. There's like really, you can get your basic stuff that you get every couple of days, like, you know, I'm a vegetarian, by the way, but your milk and your eggs and your bread, that's something that you probably get a couple times a week. You can get that now. You can get it delivered where you don't have to leave the house. You can just, put in one of those apps and they'll deliver it to the house, right? So there's not a lot of movement as it used to be. So I think it would be somewhat of a challenge to meet people in that, traditional way nowadays. Still, it's still a possibility, but it's less. I think it's less chances of that happening because we just don't go out as much. Yeah, and so, but it's still a possibility. It's just like I said, computers. It's funny because I haven't posted it yet, but I took a little short video clip today. I was in Walmart, and they have these new machines there where it's just going around on its own, and it's like a super large Rhomba. What's that little mechanism they used to have that cleans the floor? You can just leave it and it'll go around. It's like that, but it's large. It's like 7 feet tall. You can't miss it. And so I thought that was interesting. And that's where we're headed. More technology, and it's just, to me, it just equates to less chances of interaction, like face-to-face interaction, I should say. So, I would have to say that's still a possibility, but it's a small possibility. Going around normally, doing regular things like going to the grocery store and different places like that, as far as meeting other woke people. And then there is the entertainment that we, will go to and, indulge in, such as, if you're a theater person, if you go to art galleries, museums, the movies, go out to eat, stuff like that. There's still a possibility there. I think a lot of woke people may fall into the category of empathic people. And empathic people a lot of times won't want to be around a large crowd. So I would think in the terms of going out that way, you may be able to meet people, but I'm not sure that it would be a lot of woke people that would be out and about. There may be a few, but at large events, probably not. So yeah, that's a possibility there. And that's where I get to my recent meetings of people. Then there's the online group, which is the largest group, I think, for a lot of us these days. Since there is so much technology now, and it's changed so much. Like, we're going into 2020 soon, and just 20 years ago, people barely had cell phones. Like, the people who had cell phones 20 years ago were what? Doctors and people who were on call for their jobs, and wealthy folks and people who had it like that. Right? And so now, and I probably went a little back too far, but yeah, 20 years ago, now everybody has cell phone and technology. Like I said, there's not a need to move around anymore as much as we used to. But now we have all of these social media apps, and with all of these social media apps, that's where we all can meet. We all do meet right now. we have Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and so on and so forth. It goes on and goes on. And we connect there. However, I don't really, the connections online can be really, they're not really deep connections a lot of times. This is my experience. So, but I have met people who, become, actual connections, but they're very far and few between. But I think that's the largest group of how woke people are connecting online. And so I'm not I'm gonna say, me personally, I'm not a big social media person. I'm on there all the time though, but I'm not like, I haven't, been the greatest in communication in that way. So it's still limited. But I know that is actually probably the most easiest way to connect with other woke people. But I just don't know how deep the connection would go, how genuine the connection can be online. Like for the most part, I think there's definitely possibility, but but that is a major way. And so this is a continuous question for me. Again, this is one of the reasons why I started the podcast, because I want to meet other woke people. And with everything that I named, I wouldn't say that I have met many through those examples. There's not a lot of people that I've met in a real way, I should say, because I'm connected to a lot of people on social media, but y'all know how that is. You can be connected to thousands of people, and maybe a handful are real, true, and genuine connections, while the other thousands are just connections, but they're not really I don't know, true and real. Like, you wouldn't be able to say, okay, my Facebook friend Anjanea, who's been my Facebook friend for 3 years, have you met your Facebook friend from, I don't know, 5 years ago, who y'all been connected, that way for 5 years? Have y'all ever had a conversation besides commenting on different posts? And so those are the kind of connections we make, where they're not deep, they're not there's not a lot to it. It's a very surface level of a connection until you make it more deep, but it's usually a surface level connection. So but of course I want to know what you think. What ways do you have that you've connected with other woke people that have turned out to be some genuine connections that you've made, where you actually can call that other person a friend, or maybe an actual relationship has come from it and is more than commenting on each other's posts on social media? I'm really interested to know. I think that's my biggest concern. I did tell y'all about this experiment that I kind of had to, I guess cancel, because it just wasn't working out, where I tried to get on a couple of the dating sites, And it is on me because I don't want to share my true age. So couldn't really, go too far with that. I'm still trying to see who's brave enough in public and everything, because that's what I plan to do. So I'm open to the possibility. Dating app is not working for me. And so I meet people all the time. It's just, as far as, like I was saying before, the real connection is it's a challenge. And so, but you all, share your experiences and share any ideas that you have that, were not mentioned. What successes have you had with meeting other woke people? And, share. This podcast is on YouTube as well as Facebook. I think a link on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/WokeConnect, and you can leave comment there. With that, I'm going to end this episode. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. I updated you on my so-called experiment, which is really a flawed experiment, but we're gonna keep it moving and everything. Yeah, so, and I think I really wanted to kind of discuss a little bit with you more about how I met the folks, and like I said, it was you just don't know when people show up. You just don't know. You have a rhyme or reason. You just connect with folks, and that's really what it has been for me, and that's really how it's been for me over the years. But I'll get into that in future episodes. For these first episodes, so I don't want to have it too long or anything, and when you all get involved, we'll see about extending it. I want to bring a lot to you all, and so this is just a start. So I thank you for joining and listening, and stay tuned. Tomorrow I'll be coming to you with another episode. So on that note, I'll say have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. And so, woke people, we're no longer asleep. Our third eye is active. So go in love and spread it around. This is Woke Connect. Have a good one.